because we are talking gators.
Yeah, we are. We have an update on the Polk County alligator attack. Newly released report from FWC details the event of the attack described from March 3rd, kayaker at the Tiger Creek Canal. Now, according to the report, 64-year-old Christiane Salvador and her 72-year-old husband were in the canal when her kayak capsized. Horrifying already. FWC officers said the large alligator bit her paddle in half and then dragged her into the water. Her husband said she shouted, "There's an alligator on my arm."
Yeah, he actually said the alligator had his wife by the elbow as he was trying to pull her into his kayak. Eventually, the alligator did let go, allowing the couple to get to shore. Salvador is recovering. She's okay. According to the report, the attack was unprovoked, and alligator trappers found and killed that 8-foot female alligator. But how frightening.
Wouldn't want to see that.
No, look at that paddle.
Thank God he let go.
Look at that.
Well, and the other thing, too, about the paddle is that's really your only quote-unquote weapon that you have out there before you're completely defenseless. So if he had taken a bite out of that and it was gone, oh, my Lord.
And we're getting comments. Steve, by the way, says, reminder, folks, if an alligator takes a liking to your paddle, let go of it. Right, but I hear what Beth's saying, too. Like, you kind of want it. It's your only protection if you have to jab back or try to get rid of the gator.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's tough.
What is your method? Like, what is your school of thought? I mean, that has to be a fight or flight moment, correct?
I'm not going anywhere near that place.
Are you supposed to like put your fingers in the alligator's nose so he can't breathe?
Really?
And he has
I
to
thought
open
it was
his mouth.
eyes, maybe.
Oh, yeah, that would really get him upset.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. We want to get into another comment from Stephanie Hayes. She says they euthanized said gator, and 2 months later, another woman died in the same spot from an attack. Only the second attack was during mating season. I do feel like we've talked a lot about alligators recently.
I know, and guess what? I'm shifting gears because we're going to talk sharks next.
Ugh.
Meantime, Lakeland police arrested a man with several felony warrants after he bragged on social media that the sheriff's office could not catch him. In a Facebook comment on Sheriff Grady Judd's Fishing with Judd event, Aaron Johnson said, quote, "Y'all too busy fishing. That's why y'all didn't catch me when I left my grandma's house today. I should have waited a bit longer. Y'all accepted the challenge, right?" The sheriff's office responded saying in part, quote, "No worries, we will find you." Well, check this out. Lakeland police helped track Johnson down, posting this picture on Facebook saying he was personally delivered to deputies at the Polk County Jail.
They almost made it. The driver of a rental RV tried to slide through the Morgan Street Tunnel today, which goes underneath Thunder Alley at Amalie Arena in downtown Tampa. Oh, so close. They reached the end of the tunnel, though, but they could not quite squeeze out the other side. Tampa police were on scene to help and snap a few pictures to remember it by, I suppose.
That's frustrating.
Yeah, you get it was just so close, but
not the time to cross your fingers and hope.
On your sides, Beth Rousseau was there at TPA when these passengers arrived. Tell us about this, Beth.
Really some heartwarming moments that we saw transpire. Governor Ron DeSantis says that with this second flight touching down at TPA, that means right about 300 people have officially been evacuated from Israel and brought back here to the U.S. Now, we were able to talk to some of those evacuees during their first moments back here on U.S. soil. They say they just cannot express their gratitude enough, but also it's really tough for them to detail and describe how scary the situation is over in Israel.
We were right in Jerusalem, and every night there were sirens, and we were in a special area in our Airbnb, all curled up and watching live missiles going over. We could hear the missiles. It was absolutely terrifying. I'm so grateful to be home.
So from those scary moments to these really joyous ones that happened over at Airside F, you can see them hugging. There was cheers, chanting, people singing God Bless America, just so grateful to be home. Now, they were greeted by Governor Ron DeSantis. Again, he said that this flight brought about 160 evacuees back here to Tampa International Airport. He says this is thanks to a partnership between the Florida Department of Emergency Management as well as Grable Rescue. And he says those evacuations will continue. He says there are still so many people over there that need help.
Expect more of these to happen, and I don't know what's going to happen in terms of the length of this conflict, but I think that the people that are stuck over there, particularly our Florida students and Florida residents, probably don't want to be stuck over there and just have to wait out the balance of it.
And And it's not just Floridians who were brought back here to Tampa International Airport on these flights. We talked to someone who was headed back to Atlanta. They'll go from here to their respective hometowns. Again, just glad to be back on U.S. soil. We talked to leaders with Gray Bull Rescue. They say they expect another flight to be coming in either on Sunday or Monday, so we'll keep you updated as this whole situation progresses.
A Hillsborough County roofing company is taking some heat tonight.
A second customer of Brandon-based Platinum Roofing reached out to Better Call Benkin for help because they forked over their insurance money for a new roof, and months later, they've only received broken promises. Consumer investigator Shannon Benkin joins us live in studio. Shannon?
Keith Stacey, last week I told you about a Manatee County woman who paid over $8,000 in March and doesn't even have a permit. Well, the man you're about to meet saw my story and called me to say he paid $10,000 in January and also doesn't have a roof.
The one thing that you've got to have no matter what is a place to live.
Like most of us, Tim Smith's biggest asset is his home. In the fall, he realized that a June hailstorm shown here on his home video damaged his roof. His insurance company sent $10,000 of a $15,000 settlement, and in January, he paid that to Platinum Roofing.
I was told they should be able to get started by the end of January, 1st of February.
And that didn't happen?
No.
And then what?
Then I was told they should be able to start by the middle of February.
And that didn't happen?
That didn't happen. From there on, every week or so, I got more excuses. I was told a couple of times that the building permits were in, then I was told that the building permits were not in. I was told that the materials had been ordered at least half a dozen times. The materials had never showed up.
Now he says no one responds to his messages, and Platinum Roofing's office abruptly closed with no forwarding information. Do you feel like you've been taken advantage of?
Absolutely. And I feel like I'm not the only one.
He found that to be true when he saw my story on Audrey Chatfield in Manatee County.
On the contract, it said it would start the roofing at 30 days after the permit was pulled. So the permit has not been pulled.
I dug up state records that show the company's workers' compensation insurance expired January 1st, 2024, meaning they can't pull permits. When I reached company owner Nick Jackson by text message about Audrey's roof, he promised a refund by the end of the week. That didn't happen, and now my text messages go unanswered.
No sense in getting that repaired till we get the roof repaired.
Back at Tim's house, his roof is leaking, and he says his insurance company won't release more money until he spends the 10 grand on his roof.
No, you don't want to have to get a loan for something you've already been paid for.
Tim says he's filed complaints with both the Hillsborough and Polk County Sheriff's offices.
They're sitting there lying to you back and forth after they took $10,000 of my money. That's fraud.
I have sent repeated messages this week to Nick Jackson, the owner of Platinum Roofing, and he has not responded. Both Tim and Audrey also filed complaints with the Florida Department of Business and Professional Regulation, which oversees licensed professionals. Tim showed me a letter that he received from DBPR that shows that the office is investigating his complaint against the license holder for Platinum Roofing, and his name is Willie Solis. He's a certified roofing contractor who lives in Texas.
Wow, what a tangled web. So I'm wondering, Shannon, what does law enforcement have to say? Because they're not seeing anything for this money at this point.
Right, and that's often the difference between civil and criminal, as we've reported many times through the years. So I reached out to law enforcement. The Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office has talked with both of these customers and another homeowner in Fort Myers. The Sheriff's Office tells me that they want any customer who paid and received nothing to call them, no matter where you live. Meanwhile, the Polk County Sheriff's Office is looking into this complaint now as well.
So this guy Nick and this other cat Willie in Texas, both are on the hook.
Yes, it goes back to Nick, who's the owner, and Willie, who is the license holder. That's right.
Well, thank you, Shannon. If you have a problem that needs solving, you better call Benkin. The telephone number 1-855-BENKIN, or you can reach her on Facebook at WFLA Shannon.
With bombs falling around them, Americans in Israel are finding a way home, and they're arriving right here in the Bay Area. Good evening. I'm Stacy Scheibel.
And I'm Keith Kate. Thank you for joining us tonight. Within hours, we expect more Americans, hundreds of them who are fleeing Israel, to arrive at Tampa International Airport.
Now, some of those flights are chartered by Governor Ron DeSantis and the state of Florida. A Tampa-based humanitarian group is also helping lead some very complex rescue efforts. News Channel 8's Ty Russell joins us. He is live at Tampa International tonight.
And Stacy, some of those people who are fleeing Israel are expected inside of this main terminal here at Tampa International Airport. It'll be a similar scene to what we saw this morning when travelers arrived. And I talked to a USF student this evening who is expected to be on one of those incoming flights.
Going from this summer internship program that you've built up in your head, something that you've been looking forward to for a full year almost, and suddenly you're spending it hiding in bomb shelters.
Now, this 20-year-old USF student is looking forward to returning to Tampa.
It almost felt surreal to hear these air raid sirens and feel the impacts of the missiles hitting Tel Aviv.
This week, the U.S. State Department issued a no-travel advisory to Israel. That's when Governor DeSantis decided the state of Florida will charter flights from overseas to Tampa to bring Americans home. He's also partnering with Tampa-based Gray Bull Rescue.
I know about the flights that we've worked with Governor DeSantis. Those have all been successful. We're waiting on one more. Which is imminent.
One of the chartered flights arrived this morning at Tampa International.
We have a series of other ones right behind it.
Rescuing Jewish Americans from Israel is not easy. They either have to be taken to Jordan or the island country of Cyprus first.
The big contingencies that we're worried about are more airspace closures and border closures, which continue to frustrate operations.
But those operations give people like Noam relief.
Thank God we are going to make it home safe.
And organizers with Gray Bull Rescue say that so far, more than 5,000 people have made requests to flee Israel. They've been using a link on the Florida Department of Emergency Management's website, and Gray Bull expects that number to increase to 6,000. Stacy?
Ty, do we know when the next chartered flight is scheduled to arrive here in Tampa?
You know, I've been on the phone throughout the day with all of my sources, and they are being very cautious because they say this is for safety reasons. So they are not giving us the exact times for the arrivals. However, remember this, that USF student, you couldn't tell where he was. He was actually being cautious as well. He was advised to not give us his exact location either because, of course, they all want to be able to make it here safe and sound. Stacey?
Right. Ty Russell live at Tampa International tonight. Thank you.
Bucs Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
There's a.
It's been a couple of years since we put somebody in, by the way.
Right. So there's a list of people now who, would like to see their name up there at Raymond James Stadium. Give me a name. Give me somebody who you think deserves to be there after Simeon, a name that stands out.
There's only one at number one in my list here. I got a list. Obviously, I can tell you 5 names, like Donnie Abraham and Gerald McCoy, who I play with, both guys I play with, James Wilder, who always comes up in this conversation.
Yep.
Certainly people are going to talk about Tom Brady. We can talk about that in a little bit. But the number one on my list, like without a doubt, the next person to go into the Bucs Ring of Honor needs to be Hardy Nickerson. This dude played 7 years here. He's not a dude. He's a man. Like, he was when I got here in 1997, there was a presence. It was like a Darth Vader presence walking around the locker room and on the football field, like, that just commanded respect. And the way of doing your job was one person. And it was 56. Made 4 Pro Bowls while he was in Tampa. He was an AP All-Pro twice. The man had a 214 tackle season. Do that math. 214 tackles.
That's a lot of tackles. In a 16-game season, kids. Remember, 16-game season.
Ridiculous. Right? And I think probably most importantly, which people, it's an intangible. He came in here in 93, and the culture changed like when Tony got here. But Tony needed a guy to be the mouthpiece. Mm-hmm. And Derek gets a lot of credit for it, as he should, because he was here for a long time. But they'd all started with Hardy. Hardware was the guy that changed the culture here in Tampa. The way we went about doing our jobs, the manner in which we played the game, the physicality. I remember thinking intimidation is a physical act. That was a hardware statement, right? Like, he ran through people, including his own teammates from time to time. I was the recipient of a ton of friendly fire from him. But the next guy, without a doubt, in my mind, is Hardy Nickerson.
Pro Football Reference, you look up his stat sheet. He didn't really ever come close to that 214 tackles in the 1993 season. I mean, he had impressive numbers, of course, and a lot of these numbers really stand out. But 214 tackles in 1993 at his age 28 season, that would have been more than 13 tackles a game on average.
That's crazy.
Average.
That record still stands, by the way, in Bucs history. We've had some pretty good linebackers come through here since.